Watoto wa Goma, munataka tuishie hapa? Munataka tuende wapi? Munataka tuende wapi?
Well, I have received quite a few requests from you in the comment section to do or shed more light on what is happening in the DRC, the Congo crisis, with the M23 and the Congolese army, the East African community, the Southern African development countries, what is happening in the DRC. And I have perused books and gone to the internet to read more about the DRC, to try and understand what is happening before I came here to give you more information. Of course, as we always do here at Bonafide, I give a perspective and I allow you at the comment section to give more information, to challenge what I'm saying, to give more information about what is happening in the DRC. We have people even closer to the DRC than I am who are even better off to give more information about what is happening at the DRC. But I have just a sneak peek to first of all start all this. We're going to start from the genesis of everything, how this started. We have different theories, many people giving different ideas of how this started. Many say that it is during the partitioning, that there are Tutsis who are in the DRC who have not been inculcated into the armed forces in Congo, that the Congolese government has neglected the Tutsis at the DRC. And then there is yet another theory about the aftermath of the 1994 genocide that happened in Rwanda. Well, I'm going to shed some light about what I have read regarding these crises, the M23 and the Congolese army, and what is happening right now at the DRC. This is Bonafide. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and hit that notification button so that when I release something new on DRC and the M23, you get notified as soon as possible. Well, there is no one size fits all in discussing the crisis in Congo. Despite the fact that we may say that Rwanda has a hand in what is happening in Congo with the M23, we have to go back in history, as many will go back to start to analyze what is happening in the DRC. And the first theory, and I don't know if both of these theories align at some point, but there is an anecdote that was given by the former president of Tanzania, and that is Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania. And he said that what is happening in Congo is akin to what will happen between Tanzania and Kenya, in that post-colonial times, there have been the demarcations of lines that now are boundaries of countries. And these boundaries of countries were not self-imposed by Africans ourselves. They were imposed by our colonial masters, the British, the French, the Belgium. They came here and demarcated Africa. They partitioned Africa. And sometimes these lines went through the tribes and different communities that lived here in Africa. And he gave an example of the Maasai. There are the Maasai of Kenya and there are the Maasai of Tanzania. Now, the British who colonized Kenya and also who colonized Tanzania after the Germans, they demarcated the lines that cut across the Maasai. That meant that right now we have the Maasai of Tanzania and then we have the Maasai of Kenya. And the Maasai are still living in that ancestral land, despite the fact now that there is a line that cuts across them. And this now separates Tanzania from Kenya. And part of the community now lives in Tanzania, others live in Kenya. And he said that the Maasai of Kenya cannot say that they are from Tanzania. These are Maasais of Kenya. And similarly, the Maasai of Tanzania are Tanzanians right now. They cannot say that they are Kenyans because now they are not living on one side of the border. And he said that that is the similar situation that is happening at the DRC, that there was a demarcation and part of the Tutsis are now living in the DRC and some Tutsis are living in Rwanda. And he said that now the DRC cannot come and say that Tutsis do not belong in DRC, that because there is some origin in Rwanda, or many of them live in Rwanda, then they now deserve to live in Rwanda. The international line that differentiates Rwanda and Congo was cut by colonial masters. And that means that we have to respect that there are Tutsis of Congo and there are Tutsis of Rwanda. So that is the anecdote that the former president of Tanzania gave. And he said that now there is only one option. You have to assimilate the Tutsis. You have to make them to become Congolese for you to progress. There is no any other way for you to push them out and say that these are not our own. You have to make them to be part of government. You have to make them to be part of the military and to be Congolese, just as the Maasais of Kenya are part of the Kenyan government, the Maasais of Tanzania are part of the Tanzanian government. Well, fast forward to post 1994, after the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda. And this is a sensitive issue that I would like to tread very carefully. Past the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda, about 500 to a million Tutsis lost their lives because of that genocide. And the Tutsi-led forces fought back fiercely and they took over power. And that meant that the Hutus, at that time, the Hutus feared the Tutsi-led government. And many of them, it is quoted by the UN, about 2 million of them fled from Rwanda into Congo. Now we had 2 million plus Hutus in Congo. And mind you, this genocide against the Tutsis, it was not solely against the Tutsis. Even moderate Hutus lost their lives because of these genocides, among other tribes that were in Rwanda at that time. And because of the fighting back of the Tutsis and them winning to control government, the Hutus now fled from Rwanda into Congo, fearing the Tutsi-led government that they will have reprisals against the Hutus. Now, tensions between the Hutus and the Tutsis in Congo also flared up because there were Tutsis in Congo and there are now Hutus who fled from Rwanda into Congo. And there were militias formed. And now there were claims that the militias that were formed from the Hutus that fled from Rwanda into Congo were going against the Tutsis in Congo. Now, the Rwandan army has also raised this claim and say that the Congolese army or the Congolese government is not doing enough to safeguard the Tutsis who have Rwandan origin. Now, the M23, this is a militia that was formed on March 23, 2012. That is where they got the M23 name. Now, came up and say that they want to defend the Tutsis in the eastern DRC. And mind you, they not only say that they are protecting the Tutsis, they also say that they are defending Congolese of Rwandan origin who are facing persecution from the Congolese government and other militias operating in the area. Now, according to the United Nations, the M23 now has 6,500, close to 6,500 fighters, active fighters who are fighting in Congo right now. They're fighting the Congolese government. They have taken Goma. This is a strategic city in eastern DRC. And they're saying that they want to continue this onslaught. They want to go up to the capital, Kinshasa, which is 1,000 kilometers away. They want to reach Kinshasa and take over the entire government of the DRC. Critics are saying that the M23 claims are pretexts of Rwanda to take control over the key mining areas of the DRC. The Kivu region, that is a very rich region in DRC. That is where you find all the minerals, cobalt, gold, diamond, everything good comes from that particular region. And that is why it is a hotly contested region. And that is the reason as to why we have different countries that are eyeing what is coming from this particular region, including Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi also has interest, Congo is there, and other countries. Well, today is just the beginning of the information of what is happening in the DRC with the M23. I will be keeping you with the latest updates, also explaining beyond what the headlines are giving, going deeply into the politics of what is happening in the DRC, because many countries are involved in this: Rwanda, Uganda, Burundi, and by extension, we have Kenya as well as South Africa being involved in what is happening in the DRC. Stay tuned and keep it bona fide so that we can explore more about what is happening in DRC with the M23 crisis.